My name is Eva Iacono. I'm a visual artist and I live in East Hampton, New York, in the United States of America. And my work has an approach where I would say that it's mixed media. I use photography, I use collage, I use natural objects and portraiture. And I combine them in what I hope are very meaningful and evocative ways. I hope that people find interest, fascination, enjoyment of my work, because I've always gained so much by looking at the work of other artists as well in my life and in various different places that I've traveled to, and in this area where there are so many, such a great variety of artists in so many different media. And we're very fortunate to have this beautiful natural landscapes to be part of here. And in fact, that is very much part of what inspires me in my work and what I want to include in my work. So thanks very much to Walter Sanchez again for this opportunity to share my art with you. What caused me to make art is really a desire to participate in what I looked at as something so special in the world. I wanted to be part of that world because I so admired the paintings I saw, the sculpture I saw. I admired what people could do with their hands. And I think that in my world, there weren't any artists at that time, and people were, in the past, I had grandparents who were seamstresses who made beautiful types of covers and worked with lace. But when it got to me, actually, my life as a child, I only in school was I participating in the art that was suggested as part of the art program, and I wanted to expand upon that, and because I felt such a joy in making those, in creating art, no matter what it was, because we really did have a wide range of, from ceramics to stained glass to drawing to painting, to photography. But it was never my intention to study art in college after I graduated from high school, and yet it was always something that was behind me, very present, and in various ways throughout my life, I began to involve myself in creating things, whether I was taking an art class or just inviting friends to my home and drawing them, which I really enjoyed. So I'd say that it was just initially, it was my fascination, my interest, my appreciation for the art that I saw in museums, in people's homes, and I wanted to be one of those people who actually created such work. I really like this question about what I'm trying to transmit or through my art, what are my ideas behind my art, because I think my art comes from some very profound places. My art is created from a lot of emotions within myself. what are conveyed from other people around me, or it doesn't have to be nearby, but there's so much going on in the world that I think my art tries to explain some very profound questions. Probably the most fundamental question is, what is death? And how we can somehow try to out through actually creating an art piece that can somehow evoke in the viewer maybe some kind of pathway to understand that better, or just see somebody else's vision of that. I don't think there's a more profound question in all humanity. Does all my art center on that? Not necessarily. I also, through that question, what I also try to do then is connect people to nature. People are nature, I recognize that, but people to the natural world other than humanity. And the life cycle of the things around us are very much shorter than our own human life cycles. So I think that that connection really then helps us get some kind of vision or view on the question of life, death, rebirth as well. A lot of my work comes from a very sad, deep experience of my mother's death. I have to say that I was trying to work that out, and my reaction to no longer having her was very much a question or an experience I tried to work out through my art in focusing on, my focus usually is on faces. I'm so inspired by faces. I do a lot of self-portraits, but I also do portraits of other people. I lately have done a lot of photographs of relatives, but also friends. And what I try to do then is somehow put masks on them, and I want to show some of what I'm talking about. I have this piece here, okay, and this piece is the photograph under all these natural elements is my niece when she was younger. And then what I did is I placed different leaves and parts of flowers and parts of plants over the photograph, and what I'm trying, as a mask. And I love the concept of masks also because I think the more we try to abstract our work, but not totally, I don't go towards total abstraction, but the idea of a mask somehow conveys some honesty in when you add to the face. Sometimes it almost evokes more than just leaving the face alone for the viewer. So what this is doing, my original idea had to do with Greek mythology, and I was fascinated by the Greek character named Persephone, and Persephone actually in that mythology travels into the underworld she's abducted into the underworld by Hades, the king of the underworld, and what happens is she then, through Zeus's intervention, gets to live half the year in the underworld and half the year on the surface of the earth. And what I was envisioning is, because I really liked that idea that someone could come back and tell us about what it's like, that vision of what happens after death, which she was probably, I don't know how many in mythology of these figures there are, but she was the one I concentrated on, and I thought, what can she tell us about what it's like in the afterworld, in the world after one passes? So this was a mask. I did a series of masks showing what Persephone would wear over her face in the underworld as a queen, because she does become the queen because she married the king. She is the wife of Hades. What would she be wearing as her decoration? And I felt like, since she has a special ability to go into both worlds, it would probably be very ornate. But instead of jewelry, it would be these compilations of objects from the natural world. Talking about my process, what I've been doing lately is I take a photograph of someone, and then what I do is I either put objects directly on top of the photograph, or I'm using this glass panel too, and I put the objects on top of the glass panel, and then I arrange them. I use things I find in the woods or the beach that are meaningful to me. I love the texture of different textures. I use, I've been drying flowers. I sometimes use sea glass. And what I want to do, again, it's the theme of connecting humanity with nature and how we are connected or not connected to this world outside of ourselves. Hopefully we become more connected to that world, because for me it gives me so much solace to be walking in nature. It's a great joy, and I also get a lot of internal peace from it, which I think we all need. So what I do is I work on arranging these pieces with the photograph, and then I take another photograph of the arrangements, and in my computer I use various programs, and I try to I could use a piece. Some pieces are very close to what the photograph originally looks like, or I change it dramatically, and depending on what I feel is conveying. On the one hand, I want to convey a certain mystery about that connection of humanity and nature. On the other hand, I want to convey a certain honesty about it, and sometimes through all the manipulations of technology, I don't get that rawness or the what I would say is an emotional honesty. So then I need to really contrast or dramatically change it. However I want to, however I might do that through color, through shadow, through somehow diffusing the light in the way I want, diffusing the image in the way I want. But my goal is really to present a, I guess I'll go back to that word mystery, because there's so much we don't understand about the world outside of us, nor the world, our internal world. And so I think I'm being most honest in my work when I leave that mystery to the viewer.